Welcome to English Learning Key. I'm Anna, and as always, I'm joined by David. Today's episode is special. David is going to share a brand new fictional story full of emotion, mystery, and beautiful life lessons. So, dear listeners, find a cozy place, maybe make a cup of tea, and relax your mind. Let this story help you listen, imagine, and learn English in a natural way. David, what's the story called today?
Today's story is called The Lighthouse of Autumn Bay. It's about a young man who feels lost and how one small village, an old lighthouse, and a few new friends help him find light again, both inside and outside.
That sounds beautiful already. I love stories with lighthouses. They always feel peaceful and mysterious.
You're right, Anna. Lighthouses have a special symbolism. They guide ships safely home, even through darkness and storms.
Oh, that's lovely. So, listeners, as you listen, pay attention to new words and repeat them if you can. Are you ready, David?
Ready, let's begin. Once upon a time, not too long ago, there was a quiet seaside village called Autumn Bay. The waves there whispered softly against the rocks, and the sea air always smelled of salt and pine trees. At the very edge of the village stood an old lighthouse, tall, white, and a little worn by time. Locals said its light could reach far beyond the horizon, and that sometimes, if you looked closely, you could see colors dancing in the beam, gold, blue, and green, like the northern lights. One cloudy afternoon, a young man named Elias arrived in Autumn Bay. He carried only a small suitcase and a notebook. His clothes were simple. His eyes looked tired. He had come from the city hoping to find something. Peace, maybe. Or a reason to start again.
Oh, he sounds like someone who's been through a lot.
Yes, Elias was a writer, or at least he used to be. He had once loved creating stories, but lately every page felt empty. After a difficult time, losing someone close, a breakup, and a job that no longer inspired him, he decided to leave the noise behind and travel somewhere quiet. He rented a small cottage overlooking the bay. It had cracked windows, wooden floors that creaked, and a small desk facing the sea. When the wind blew, the curtains danced. At night, he could see the lighthouse beams sweep slowly across the dark water.
That image feels so calm, but also lonely. Sweep, to move smoothly, like light moving across a space.
Exactly. The lighthouse's light swept over the waves like a hand reaching out, guiding lost ships. Elias began to feel curious about it. Who took care of it? Did someone still live there? One morning, after a long walk along the shore, Elias saw an old man sitting on a bench near the lighthouse. The man wore a thick blue coat, a knitted hat, and a gray beard that looked like sea foam. He was feeding breadcrumbs to the seagulls. Elias hesitated. Hesitate means to pause before doing something because you feel unsure, but then said quietly, "Good morning." The old man looked up. "Morning," he replied, with a voice deep and calm like the sea.
I can almost hear his voice, slow and kind.
Yes, exactly. Elias sat nearby, and after a few minutes of silence, he asked, "Do you live here, by the lighthouse?" The man nodded. "I," he said. "I" is an old word for yes. I'm Captain Reed. Been keeping this light for 40 years.
40? Elias repeated, surprised.
Captain Reed chuckled. The sea doesn't count years. It only remembers stories.
That's poetic. I like that. The sea doesn't count years. It remembers stories.
Yes, that line stayed in Elias's mind. The two men talked for a while about the weather, the sea, and how quiet the village was. Before leaving, Captain Reed said, "You can come by the lighthouse anytime. It's a lonely job, but the light likes visitors." That evening, Elias sat by his window, watching the beam turn across the dark sky. He felt something stir inside, a small feeling of hope, maybe curiosity. The next morning, he decided to visit again. When Elias climbed the stone steps to the lighthouse, the door was open. Inside, it smelled of salt and old books. Maps covered the walls, maps of oceans, stars, and strange symbols. Captain Reed was cleaning a brass telescope. "Ah, the writer returns," he said. Elias smiled shyly. "I'm not sure I'm a writer anymore." Captain Reed raised an eyebrow. "Nonsense. If you carry a story in your heart, you're a writer, even if you haven't written it yet."
That's so encouraging. Many learners might feel the same way about English. They know it in their hearts, even if they haven't spoken it yet.
Beautifully said, Anna. Captain Reed showed Elias the lantern room, the top of the lighthouse where the great light turned slowly. The glass windows shone with sea reflections. The captain explained how the lenses worked, how they needed to be polished every day so the light stayed strong.
Elias asked, "Do you ever get tired keeping the light on every night?"
Captain Reed laughed softly. The sea can be rough, but the light must always shine. It reminds me that even in dark times, there's always something worth showing up for.
Showing up, meaning to be present, to keep going, even when things are hard.
Exactly. That night, Elias couldn't sleep. The sound of waves outside mixed with the echo of the captain's words. He opened his notebook and wrote his first line in months. "The light doesn't wait for calm seas. It shines through the storm." He smiled to himself. It wasn't perfect, but it was a beginning. A few days later, Elias met a young girl near the pier, maybe 9 or 10 years old, with bright red hair and a notebook full of sketches. She sat on the dock, drawing the lighthouse. Elias stopped. "That's beautiful," he said. She looked up. "Thanks. I'm Mira. My grandmother runs the bakery near the square." Elias introduced himself. Mira asked, "Are you one of the tourists?" He laughed a little. "Not really. I think I'm a guest of the sea." She tilted her head, curious. "That sounds like a poem."
She's clever.
Very. The two quickly became friends. Every afternoon, Elias met Mira by the shore. She'd draw and he'd write, and sometimes they'd just watch the waves. Mira told him about her dream, to become an artist and travel the world painting lighthouses. One evening, Mira pointed at the horizon. "Do you know the legend of the Autumn Bay light?" Elias shook his head. "No, tell me." She whispered, "People say that when someone is lost, not in the sea, but in life, the lighthouse shines brighter for them. It shows them where to go next." Elias smiled softly, though part of him wondered, could that really be true? Weeks passed. The air grew colder, and the sea turned gray with winter winds. One night, a storm rolled in. Thunder growled, and the waves hit the rocks hard. Elias watched from his cottage window. The lighthouse beam cut through the rain like a sword of gold. Suddenly, the light flickered, once, twice, then went out.
Oh no.
Yes, Elias froze. The lighthouse, the one thing that always stayed bright, was dark. He threw on his coat and ran through the rain to the lighthouse. The wind howled, water soaked his clothes. Inside, he found Captain Reed trying to fix the generator. "It's gone out," the captain shouted over the storm. "We need to restart it or ships could lose their way." Elias helped without thinking, holding the flashlight, fetching tools, doing whatever he could. His hands were shaking, but his heart felt alive. Together they repaired the line, and finally, the great light flared back to life, shining brighter than before. Captain Reed smiled. There, the sea can scream all it wants. Our light stands. Elias laughed, breathless. For the first time in a long while, he felt something clear. Purpose. The next morning, the storm was gone. The sea looked calm, soft blue under a pale sunrise. Mira came running. "You did it!" she cried. "We saw the light from our window. Grandma said that it looked brighter than ever." Elias smiled. Maybe the lighthouse was testing us. Captain Reed winked. Or maybe it was testing you.
I love that moment when something small changes inside a person.
Exactly. Elias realized that sometimes you only discover your strength when you're needed, when someone or something depends on your light. That night, he wrote again in his notebook, "We all carry a small lighthouse within us. It shines when someone else needs to see."
That's so inspiring.
And that, Anna, is where we'll pause for today. Elias has started to change, from a lost writer to someone rediscovering light through friendship and purpose. But the story isn't over yet.
Oh, I can't wait for part 2. I feel so peaceful after listening, like I've been standing by the sea myself. Listeners, before we finish, let's remember some useful words from today's story. Hesitate, to pause before doing something because you feel unsure. Sweep, to move smoothly across a space, like light or wind. Show up, to be present, even when it's difficult. Purpose, the reason for doing something, what gives life meaning.
Beautifully done, Anna.
Thank you, David. Listeners, what do you think of the Lighthouse of Autumn Bay so far? Share your thoughts in the comments and tell us, when was the last time you felt lost? And what helped you find your light again?
Remember, every new word you learn, every time you listen and speak, you're building your own lighthouse of English.
I love that. See you next time.
Until then, keep listening, keep learning, and keep shining.